Call the regular Dixon County Commission meeting for October 24th, 2024. Please stand for flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I move we approve the agenda as printed with no additions.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Consent agenda. Minutes of the October 17th meeting, payroll of $401,794.96.
I move to approve the consent agenda. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Commission comments and committee reports. Ron?
No comments.
Lynn?
This probably be covered a little bit by Janelle, but there was a regional meeting where there's county commissioners or representatives of those commissions and administrators. We met down at Council Grove this past Monday and just kind of discussed a wide array of issues that have to do with our particular counties or one we have common interest in, but also kind of had a report of what we anticipate some of the areas of concern or discussion that are going to take place within the state of Kansas as they relate to county commissions. And so it was an interesting meeting, but also we have these sometimes twice a year. They aren't that often, but we go to different counties and it's always interesting to see what they have going on in some of the other counties. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Lynn. Yeah, last Thursday after I left before the meeting was over, I went to a community advisory board meeting over in Gary County. Something that really catches your eye is to incarcerate a person in Kansas, it costs $101.37. And if you do it through community corrections, it's $9.18. So we want to keep these people out of jail and try to get them back on the right way. They did have an incident over at Junction City High School where there was a bomb threat. And I can't remember what the IOP stands for, but it's a program that keeps the juveniles from having a felony on their record so they can go through this program, so you don't have a felony against you when you get to be an adult. In our work session this morning, we discussed the 325 Avenue, 1100 Avenue Bridge. We reviewed the CUP, talked about the radio communication project in the North Towers and the South Tower. And then, like I said, Janelle will probably talk about the regional commission planning, and then Angie Forsberger from TC read a grant or B grant for their application of high-speed internet.
Schwartfager.
Yeah, whatever.
Angie.
Yeah, Angie. We have no petitions or proclamations. Public comments, Janelle.
For the Open Meetings Act, KSA 75-4317 and 75-4318A, as the elected board, the county commission is not allowed to meet or make any decisions without posting the meeting. They are only allowed to act on items on the agenda which they set. During the regular meeting, the county commission may allow for public comments on items not listed on the approved agenda. If you wish to provide comments, please come forward to the podium and state your name and address. If you are online, raise your hand and we will unmute you. State your name and address. Each person may speak for 3 minutes. The allotted time will start after the speaker has given his or her name and address. Public comments shall be addressed to the county commission only and not to the speaker or the audience. Only the county commission will be permitted to ask the speaker questions. The public comment period is not a back and forth discussion with the county commission. You should make your views and input known to them, but it is not a time to ask them questions. You should not expect them to respond to your comments. Comments may express support or agreement with the previous speakers, but in the interest of time, please do not repeat the same information. You may state something to the effect of your name and address. You agree with the previous speaker. It is important to maintain a respectful, non-threatening atmosphere for anyone who would like to speak. Please do not engage in such actions as cheering, booing, clapping, insults, threats, etc.
And I will make a statement here. We did have some conflicting information from our attorneys, and we weren't going to take any more input on the wind farm issue, but erring on the side of safety, let's go for it. If you want here to comment on it. Anybody in the audience want?
I'll go.
Okay.
Steve Johnson, my name, 1536 Nail Road, Enterprise, Kansas. Wanted to throw a few figures out about the Hope Ridge Wind Farm. There's been a lot of talk about how much money this is going to be good for the county. I just done a little simple math. I've heard the pilot payment is around $660,000. I'm not sure if that's exactly right or not. But if you divide that by the number of residents in Dixon County, it figures out to $36 a piece. Pretty small change if you ask me. And then the other figure I've heard, and I don't know if this is right or not either, $68 million over the life of the lifespan of this project, 25-year lifespan. I kind of just guessed in the middle between 20 and 30, and that figures out about $147 a resident per year. Still pretty small. I think we could save that money pretty easy anywhere else. I guess I just, just feel like it, there's a lot more stuff that's important than just a few dollars per resident. Thank you.
Thanks.
Dick Paul, 1677 Highway 43, Enterprise, Kansas. Type mine because I'll forget it all. I was employed by the city of Abilene in the capacity of building official. First step in the process of the construction permit is zoning regulations. In the zoning regulations, if the zoning regulations were not met, the proposed project was stopped at this point. The applicant had the right to appeal to the zoning board. 5 criteria must be met to reverse the decision of the zoning administrator, which rarely happens. The purpose of zoning regulations is to protect the value of existing property. As an example, residential zoned areas did not have to worry about commercial, industrial, or any other type of construction that could negatively impact the value of their existing property. I stand here today to remind you that the zoning board has spoken with a 6-1 vote against the wind turbine construction. My question is, has the county attorney or any law firm working on behalf of the county reviewed the lengthy project contract and reached a determination? I attended a meeting to determine if I was within 1,000 feet of the mapped area. I was told I am not at this point. I asked, does that mean they can expand the area if they desire? And I don't have a vote at this time? I was told yes. Why is it that the wind turbines cannot be constructed within 2 miles of the city of Abilene, but can be constructed very close to homes in the county? If approved, why not give the same consideration in the county? Everyone that lives within 2 miles of the mapped area in this county should have a vote on the construction. If this property is approved, all homeowners should have their property appraised. If it depreciates due to the construction location of wind turbines, is a portion of the revenue received by the county going to be allocated to reimburse for those financially affected? If not, how can we morally approve this project? Why devalue existing and potentially future residential home sites close to town to supply power to several states at the expense of those that have paid thousands in taxes in the county for their home? I commend the zoning board for the work they have done. I also understand that there's a mandate that by 2030, all new vehicles have to be electric. Is this part of it? There's going to be a lot of electricity. As per se in California, they don't have enough as it is. It's a joke. This Green New Deal is going to fall on its face. We don't need to be preparing for that until we have more evidence that it's going to affect us.
10 seconds left. 10 seconds left.
You have a 3 minutes. You had a 3 minute.
I think you got a fast clock.
No. Thank you, Dick.
Thank you.
I think he was granting you like to finish your sentence.
I know. I was done anyway. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Pamela Kraus. I currently reside at 1605 Deb Sunrise Trail. And I have property on Quail, Sage, and Rain. And as I've been trying to find maps because I've been outed on Facebook, saying that I have one going in, which I have no knowledge of going in. No one's talked to me. But when I find a map, it shows that we have 2 on our property going in. I've not spoken to anyone. No one has contacted me about anything. So I just want you to know that sometimes these maps maybe don't always say the truth of what's going on, in my opinion. But I just want you to know that I'm not having any on my property. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Whitney Garacki, 1547 May Street, Navarre. My family has lived here for the past 40 years or more. Since 2018, we have felt numerous earthquakes, more than the coincidence that since the Diamond Vista wind turbines were put in and the earthquakes have become more. If you look at page 1, it shows that from January 1st, 1910 to January 2016, that 106 years, we had exactly 2 earthquakes within a 62-mile distance of Hope. Notice the red dots on paper 1 was 1981 by McPherson and 2015 by Junction City. On page 2, you will see January 2016 and to January 2018, we had a total of 5 earthquakes within 63 miles of Hope. Those of 5, only 3 were 31 miles of Hope. As you can see, the red dots, those were 3 were up by Salina area. Over 6 years. Page 3, you will see January 2018 until October 17, 2024, a little over 6 years. Hope has experienced 143 earthquakes within 63 miles of Hope, and 132 quakes have been within 31 miles of Hope. Notice again the red dots and where they are located. Do you see the cluster of dots by Hope? Those are the epicenters of the quakes. Now on page 4, this is the close-up of the map since 2018, showing the epicenter of the quake, where the quake was. As you can see, they are directly located inside the boundary of this project. Does that sound like a good idea given the numbers of quakes I just showed you? As for the $660,000 they claim to be giving the county, that wouldn't even begin to pay to replace just 4 homes that could be damaged by earthquakes. No one that I know has earthquake insurance here. Earthquake insurance add up to $1,000 to your yearly home premiums, so only 660 residents of Dickinson County would be covered. I am not in favor of this project and the damage it could do to my home and my community. As you can see, the last earthquake in this area was by Woodbine, Thursday, October 10th, a 3.5 magnitude 1. Thank you for your time. And also, please look at the Marion newspaper. I can get the date for you, but they had talked about getting an audit done for other counties where the money's going, because Marion County doesn't know where their money is even going to. So just keep in mind of that, okay? Thank you.
Francis Anderson. I live at 1179 Key Road, Abilene, Kansas. My house is just across the road from the boundary. So I'm within 1,000 feet. I own land in Ridge Township, and I approve the wind farm, and I'd like to have you consider it. Thank you.
Thanks, Lance. Anyone else? Sorry.
I'll make this on a little lighter moment. Commissioners, when I was coming in today,
Larry Hoffman.
oh, excuse me, I'm Larry Hotman, 1426 1800 Avenue. When I was coming in today, I noticed a lot of roadkill. There was a rabbit, and there was a possum, then there was a skunk, then there was a deer on the edge of the road. And the car in front of me just about hit a pheasant. And I had to dig a dove out of my radiator. Let's harness the wind. My automobile and your automobile does more damage to the lives, birds and the fauna of this county than windmills probably ever will. And let's be progressive about wind energy, and let's not let a gift horse run away from us, and let's reap the economic benefits of this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
Sherry Johnson, 1536 Nail Road. Energy consultant and former president of Mitsubishi Power Systems, Dave Walsh, who is an energy expert and especially an expert in renewable energy, along with Amin Nasser, the CEO of Saudi Aramco, don't know how I'm pronouncing him, the world's largest oil and gas enterprise, have come out with reports with facts and figures to the failed agenda of the green energy of wind and solar. After 30 to 40 years of the movement to wind and solar, less than 4% of the world's energy is produced by wind and solar. And this is despite the trillions of government dollars that have been thrown at the green energy agenda. Amin Nasser states, fossil fuel is not going to go away. At last year's CERA conference held in Houston, which is the world's largest oil and gas show in the world, he stated, all the plans that we're making to do transition in Western Europe and the United States is absurd and makes no scientific sense and is destroying the economy. These men state that after 40 years of the movement to wind and solar, and particularly the heavy subsidization of the last 15 years in Western Europe and the United States, Australia, and New Zealand, that the total energy impact, and for the example, here in the US since 1976, renewables in the solar and wind form have moved the needle on total renewables as a content of US energy by a grand total of 4% since 1976. Do we want to be a part of that? Such minor help if we want to help. And that's after years and years of nearly $1 trillion in subsidies from the government. Subsidizing wind and solar and battery storage now have had relatively nominal to meaningless effect on all energy supply for transportation, home heating, fuel, and electricity. Nominal supply because they're very trivial outcomes energy-wise. They are very small, intermittent, part-time, small quantity energy creation devices. Coal and gas provide over 60% of the electricity in the United States. With coal and gas, the United States would cease to exist and millions would die. The green agenda is a quick way to destroy the American economy and send more US dollars to China for production of their windmills and solar panels. It's just a fact, and this is stated from these two experts. This is not my opinion. Please do not be duped by this shiny new way for Dickinson County to seemingly make money. Please care about our future and the future of our kids and grandkids. Please listen to the ones who are trying to help you see the truth. There are many articles and studies, you can look them up yourself. Don't just believe a foreign company trying to make money off of our government and our county. These wind farms will not, or they're not going to help long term. The jobs they provide will be for their employees, but now take the case of the 2 new natural gas plants that were also just announced as being planned for Reno and Sumner counties. This kind of project would bring employment and economic growth for an area employing actual residents of the county, not just fly-by-the-night people who will be here short-term, leaving long-term leftover consequences that we don't want. Please vote this down. and find another way to save or make money in Dickinson County. Please, that's what I'm imploring you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you guys want a copy?
Yes, please. Gotta go on the record. Anybody else in the audience? Got one shot, Vic. Anybody online?
Somebody online has their hand up.
Okay, moving on. Board County officers, Janelle?
Commissioners, I'll briefly touch on the Regional County Commission meeting. We had good turnout. The KAC director was there, Bruce Pladney, and then Marion Morris, McPherson, Erie, and Celine. Bruce advised that some of the things that he believes will come before the legislature will be the 3-mile radius that they're going to be working on. They had a contact from Information Network Kansas looking at a possible pilot program where we could publish official notifications to. And there's a senator and a House of Representative that is in favor of that. They're also considering retirement plans. And the governor will be signing a proclamation tomorrow in honor of our work on Operation Greenlight for veterans and recognizing veterans, which is good. And we will be participating with that on Operation Greenlight on November 4th through the 11th. He also advised a couple different dates of upcoming meetings for this next year that commissioners and staff will be attending. Some of the things that the county's talked about were using the ARPA funds, the moratorium on a wind farm that they had, also employees, attracting new employees and retaining employees, the expenses continuing to go up, and how we're going to stay competitive with everything that has increasing security, roads and bridges, and the costs that we have for that. Just quite a few different things that came up, landfills in particular. So a few things that obviously are on our minds that we all share the same thing. And then there's 13 statutorily required duties that counties have to perform on behalf of the state. So they're putting together some more definite information on that we can hand out. So
You might mention that we're being reimbursed though, because we're not being reimbursed at this time.
and that is a plan that we are going to ask to be reimbursed for some of those things, such as elections and the motor vehicle department, things like that. So, I mean, there's quite a few lists, and we've talked about it numerous times as to those duties that we have to perform. So wanted to also mention that APAC has completed the road maintenance work at 14th and Van Buren, which is good. It looks good. If you haven't had a chance to drive out there, the paint striper will be in later. So I think that was very helpful. And then also clearing some of the trees on both sides, improve the sight lines considerably. So I would encourage you to go out there. Our EMS department staff provided education on the AEDs, which is the defibrillators that will now be located at the Solomon Senior Center and Talmadge Senior Center. And this was a program that Rotary had started to help put AEDs across the county. I don't remember how many we have across the county, but it's been very good, and it was very well received, John advised. So that was good. The appraiser's office is working on sales and new construction as part of their annual analysis. We are working with DSNO on moving the utilities that are in the right of way for the 1160 1100 Avenue Bridge replacement. And Jeannie's probably going to say this, but I'll say it, the county clerk's office will be open on October 26th from 9 to 12 for early voting.
Some questions for Janelle. County Councilor Doug.
Thank you. You mentioned about the recovery court, and you're exactly right. It costs about almost $107 per day to keep each of those individuals who are incarcerated. And so there's a lot of effort going into the recovery. And I'm involved with that, and for the same reasons that you are. I want to see those individuals to be able to be successful, stay with families, and and to get off and away from the rotten drugs that they've gotten into and to make a full, complete recovery. The other one that I'm working on is the next tax sale. I want to get the next tax sale done by the end of this year. And so we're working diligently on that to bring that one together. And there'll be a number of properties that'll be sold, and we'll work through that. And then I was at Harrington, got to watch the staff work. They just did an excellent job of giving everybody every opportunity that they wanted to have to be able to state their positions. And they did a good job. The staff involved with all of that did a good job. That's all I have.
Any questions for Doug?
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Jeannie, Janelle doesn't steal all your thunder.
No. Voting has been very busy. We sent out UVA-CAVAs, which are military overseas. We have sent 23 of those out. We sent out 122 permanent advance, and we sent out 388 single advance. We have had 1,062 early voters as of this morning, and we have 25 provisionals. And I just want to remind people that we will be open on Saturday from 9 to noon. And the last day to apply for advance voting would be Tuesday, October 29th. And early voting ends Monday, November 4th at noon.
Thank you, Jeannie. Notices of communications. We have a Tuesday, November 5th, 2024, City of Abilene Board of Zoning Appeal, which will begin at 4 p.m. And it's a public hearing, which is putting, I'm assuming, 109, which is our address, First Street, putting it all as one lot because it was divided up. That's correct?
Yes.
And I'm not going to go through all, I should go through them, but I'm not going to. We've got about 7 or 8, maybe no, more like 15 pros and cons, mainly them being against the wind farm notices. So, you don't want to make sure you receive anything? Oops, here's my notes in. Yeah, thank you, Lynn. Introduction, consideration of resolutions, none. Unfinished business, none. Other business approval, the high risk rural road KDOT project at 1400 Avenue.
Commissioners, as you know, we were awarded the high-risk rural road project that we had applied for earlier this year. And this project is on 1400 Avenue to improve between Key to Jeep Road, including both intersections. We're going to widen it by 3 foot on the shoulders, which, as you recall, as you're driving down that road, one, it's pretty wavy, I guess, to use maybe that's not the correct term, but also very steep drop off on the shoulders. We would also look at clearing the zone removals, increasing the radius turns at the intersections, new guard fence, pavement markings. So this is a project that we have been working on for years off and on, and we'd usually applied to try to get 5 or 6 miles at a time. Unfortunately, we were always rejected. We narrowed it down to 1 mile. So the total project cost is $1.235 million. With the county share at $180,000. So the project that KDOT is picking up $1.055 million. So it's a huge project that we're going to have to take at little bits and pieces at a time. But this is the first round of that. So before you is the agreement accepting the award, and then we can move forward with the process of bidding it out. It probably will not take place until 2026. So we'd ask for your approval on that.
And some of the idea on this, after it's approved, is that we could make application next year and try to get extended a mile or two. But if we'd used this strategy quite a few years back, maybe it would have been done by now.
It might have been, yeah.
But anyway, I mean, it's time to try to do it a piece at a time and get something improved.
And it's a safety issue out there on that little stretch there.
I would make the motion that we approve this high-risk rural road agreement, that it is with KDOT. And as you said, 1400 Avenue from Jeep to Key Road. And the county share would be 180,000
Mhm.
of the 1.23 million
1.235.
or 25. Okay.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? Not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Consider elevator maintenance contract.
Commissioners, as you know, we have a new elevator in the building and then we refurbished the other elevator. Part of that is we have to have annual inspections and work done on it. So we had been talking with a couple different vendors and came back with a quote from Cone. They are a company out of Wichita, but they have offices in Salina, and there's two contracts that they currently have inside the city limits, and one is at the Eisenhower Center and the other is at the hospital. So they're already in town, which makes it attractive. So the quote that we received is $546 a month or $6,552 annually. And it covers a variety of review that they will do, which is exactly what we would need for the traction elevator and the hydraulic elevator that we currently have. They'll perform testing, they'll double check all of the accessories, the signals, the car equipment, things like that. So I would ask that you approve this quote from Cohen Elevator.
Any other questions? Janelle?
I'll make a motion to accept the Cone's proposal for service to the elevator.
I'll second that motion. Any other discussion? Is there, I should ask if there, I guess, is there a maintenance agreement? I mean, it's part of the maintenance agreement, it's just inspection.
This is the maintenance agreement.
Okay,
And then they will do testing.
yeah. So if we do have problems, if we have a separate contract for that?
Yes.
Okay. There's no discussion, I'll call for a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Anything else to come before the board? I will mention that Commissioners will be attending the North Central Kansas Regional Planning Commission meeting in Salina tonight. 2325 1100 Avenue public hearing. They close that bridge permanently on November 7th. Here at the 2024 here at the commission office. Anything else to add? I move we adjourn.
Second.
Been moved and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. And adjourn.